Hello, I'm Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. Taz, and welcome to Reclaiming Your Voice. This is a limited vertical series centered on identity, authorship, and what it means to reclaim who you are after your voice has been shaped, muted, or managed by systems, roles, or expectation. This series is not about finding something new. It's about restoring what was already belonged to you. Across these conversations, we explore how voice is formed, suppressed, and reclaimed with clarity, courage, and purpose. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Velma Bagby, whose work speaks directly to identity recovery, creative expression, and spiritual restoration in real life. So, wherever you are listening from, take a breath, settle in, and let us talk about what it means to reclaim your voice. Now, we understand that voice recovery is spiritual and it's internal, not just expressive. Dr. Velma,
Yes, ma'am.
who are we becoming when we finally restore our voice?
We are becoming the person that God has intended you to be all along, downloaded in you before He formed you in your mother's womb.
Mhm.
Not only that, while He formed you in your mother's womb, He wrote down every member of your body in His book. He got you. He didn't have to run a DNA test. He put the DNA in you. He downloaded in you exactly who you were to be, what you were to accomplish, and what He expected you to do in this world.
Now, Dr. Velma, you know me, I always go another way, but I got to say this for the folks so they don't miss it. And that is the reason why people don't want you to know who you are. That is the reason
Exactly.
why people don't want you to find your voice when you've lost it.
Hmm.
That is the reason why people don't want you to reclaim it. And like we've been saying, when you got your voice back, baby, you know who you are. You are the
That's it.
author of your life with God's help. You are walking towards your purpose. They don't want you to know none of that,
That's right.
honey.
And it can be across a lot of different facets. Ethnicity, silenced because of your color,
Mhm.
your size,
Yes.
silenced.
Mhm.
Your gender, because you're female versus male, silenced. So
Mhm.
working in corporate, like we talked about early on, silence. And so you have to understand it could be a host of things that have affected your ability to move into who you have been called to do. Financially, yeah, it could be income where you decide, okay, let's forget it. No money, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of things that can affect your ability to walk into who you've been designed to be.
But Dr. Bim, I can't let us leave this little part out because I'm thinking
Okay.
about a sermon that Bishop Noel Jones did years ago. It could be the person that you connected with. It could be the person you laying in the bed with.
Yep.
Because again, how even how can I say this? They're closer to you than anybody else.
It's
So
dead, but it's
plan.
dead weight.
Well, Lord Jesus,
It's
help.
dead weight. We talked about laying aside every weight. People think that Paul was crazy when he said weight and sin. Well, sin is one thing, but weights are those things that may not necessarily be sinful, but they're heavy and they're things you're carrying around. It could be poor self-esteem. It could be poor vision of who you are because of what you heard in your ear. It
Mhm.
could be the people that you gravitate towards who tell you you're not anything.
Mhm.
And so all those voices in your head could keep you from being who you have been called to be. And like Dr. Todd says, first, we listen to the wrong voices.
Yes.
We connect to the wrong people.
Yes.
We associate to those who are not going anywhere and they don't want you to go anywhere. I used to call them Bubba Nim.
Mm.
You can't grow anywhere if you hanging out with Bubba Nim.
Oh God, yeah, I know. Thank you. It took me a moment. It took me a moment.
I know you know.
She's out in
I
California. It took me a moment. Oh yeah, Bubba.
yes.
Bubba. Mhm. No,
In California we call him Bubba Nim.
you ain't gonna, you're not gonna grow, baby. You ain't gonna be nothing. Hang with them.
No, so you have to understand that even those you associate with will prevent you from becoming who you have been destined to be. Those who are jealous of what they see in you already, that you haven't discovered in yourself, they will try to suppress who you are because they already see it. So you got to realize those things are out there that will keep you from moving into who God has called you to be.
Well, Dr. Velma, you striking it. Why is internal preparation necessary before we get this increased visibility or influence? Because a lot of people want influence. A lot of people they want to be seen. They want to be admired, whatever it is, however you want to phrase it, guys. But why is that almost like a death sentence if you're not prepared internally for what that means?
Because it was internal that it was placed there. God downloaded it in us in the very beginning. So what we have to do is go back and tap into the giver of the gift. We have to go back and tap into the giver of the gift, the one who downloaded the talent and purpose, the one who called you for a purpose and said you were qualified in that moment, who provided you all the tools you needed. We have to go back and start with the source first and reconnect there, because I know we're going to talk about restoration soon, but that's part of the restoration. That's part of my discovering who I should be, is to go back and tap into the one who put it there. Now show me now, God. Where do I go from here, God? Help me to strengthen my relation. Help me to trust you as you guide me and lead me in a plain path. When we lose that, we have no guidance, we have no compass, we have no direction, we don't know who to trust. That spiritual discernment that you have to have in this world, in the people that you meet, the people that you think you're going to trust. No, sometimes, God, I don't know why I just met this person, but you show me why. And sometimes God will say, no reason at all. Keep moving.
I can't with you, Dr. Velma. No
Keep
reason at
moving.
all. Keep on moving, honey.
Keep moving. And I appreciate that. And that's why you got to go back and tap there first,
Oh, Jesus.
then begin. But until you do that, you have no source of wisdom, no source of direction, no compass, no nothing, because the one who gave it to you in the first place, the gift giver,
Yes.
knows exactly what you need to do and where you need to start.
So you're saying then that that spiritual or emotional purification has to help shape our leadership capacity. And when I say leadership, guys, I'm not meaning that's got to be part of your work title, because
Right.
every part of our life, we are leaders. We should be self-leaders for ourselves.
Absolutely. You should tap there first, because everything is spiritual. We just don't know it. We
Mhm.
don't recognize it or acknowledge it. Everything is spiritual. This is all God's doing. God owns it all. Until you tap into the source, you won't see the full vision, you won't see your full purpose, you won't see the route to where the route you have to take to get there, you won't see it. But with his guidance and wisdom, then you'll understand, you'll know. And guess what? You become unshakable. You become immovable. You become stronger. You know not to accept, whether they say the words that mean nothing,
Oh,
that are hollow,
mhm.
you'll know not to accept the things that people promise or try to tell you what you need to do, because there's nothing behind it.
Nothing. Ooh, Jesus. Dr. Bell might be wanting to get up and run this room, but I clap. They're gonna say, "What is wrong with that woman?" Sometimes with you, I just y'all don't be understanding what
Wow.
she's putting down. Y'all need to listen now. Yeah, if they words don't mean nothing. They don't mean nothing. So then that goes into that misconception
Yep.
that people have about their purpose and their calling. So how is it that we get that twisted? Because you've talked about we got to go back to the source. Is it that we in this corporate environment,
Hmm.
and guys, remember corporate is everything because we really
Right.
talk systems. Is it that we get so overwhelmed by that particular system that we just get this, well, I guess so, we just get deceived.
Not only deceived, sometimes we get the big head. They give you a promotion in corporate and you think you all that in a bag of chips
Come on
plus
now,
a soda.
come on now, come
And
on.
so, no, you have to understand who opens the doors for you, who made that possible. Because I used to always, even in what I do, God, close the doors I don't need.
Yes.
Shut them, Lord. Help me not to walk into the ones that are not for me. I don't care how big and wonderful they look. I don't care how many dollar zeros beyond the dollar sign. That's not what's important to me. Help me to walk into the doors that are for me, that are the ones you've designed for me. And so it's important. But when you get into corporate and you start grasping onto what you think is important in corporate, and then feel like you're all of that, then you're going down the wrong track. Really, you are. And so I want to always remain humble and grateful and thankful for every door God opens for me, every insight He gives me, every time He exposes a devil in the mix of the conversation and lets me know, not that one right there. Now don't do that. Don't listen to them right there. Don't.
Hmm.
Then I'm grateful because having that wisdom helps me to avoid a big mess that could have occurred in my life had I connected with the person anyway. So it's important for us to stay connected and grounded to the giver of the gift.
Well, now, Dr. Velma, that is so, I agree, that is so important. But how do I do that? What practice will help me to sustain that authenticity over time? Because that's what you're saying. If I
Hmm.
know that everything happens because of the gifter, and I know I got to stay plugged into him,
Yeah.
how do I do that with all this noise from these different systems in my ear all day long? What do I
Well,
do?
scripture teaches us we're in the world, and the worldly system is
Mhm.
run by the one who's not God, that tried to be God and got kicked out of heaven.
Well,
So
well,
he's over the systems. And so
well.
that's what we have to be. So we'll see his ugly head show up every now and then because he's over the systems, the worldly system. Every time you say the word worldly, that's exactly what we're talking about. And so even in corporate, they're driven by what we just talked about, status and the big head. And
Mhm.
I'm the one at the top. I got the money. I make the decisions. They're run by those kind of things. And so we can't get caught up in that. Yeah, we have to have a job and yeah, we have to do our job well. But you
Mhm.
can't get caught up in the net
Mhm.
because you're gonna find yourself like Pinocchio.
Oh, Dr. Velma, you ought to stop with that. Now she's saying that you're gonna be the puppet, and because they always gonna be the puppet master, baby.
Yeah,
Let me help y'all understand. And y'all read them the expression that Dr. Taz be doing, stretching
absolutely.
my eye. You gonna be
Yes,
the puppet. They gonna be the puppet master.
right. So you have to be careful of not falling into that pattern.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have to do a job, and yes, we have to do it well, and yes, all of that. But keep your head on you, and make sure you stay focused on what you're there to do. But don't let it become who you are, because that's not who you are. You're there to do a job, and God willing, you'll discover your purpose and your voice along the way, because that is not it.
Dr. Velma, when you said that, I was reminded, and I know you'll help me to clean this up.
Hmm.
Years ago, when I had my Damascus Road experience, is what I refer to it as, and I went a whole year. I didn't listen to any secular music, and I love music. Yes, Mary J, I love music. Um, but I didn't listen to any music. And I remember a gentleman who was he's retired now. He's a pastor, but he was a he was a counseling instructor at one of the universities in North Carolina. And I
Hmm.
asked him at the conference because I was trying to find my way. I was trying to understand what is this,
Right.
and how do I navigate this world because I wasn't expecting this world that I'm now in. And one of the things either he said or I realized in having conversations with him was that I had to protect, I don't know if at the time I called it my heart, my essence, my soul, but you know what I'm trying to say because you talked about it where we have to keep our head about us.
Right.
And what that means is, and people, you can say your purpose, but it's a little more than that because if you don't protect this, you can't get to purpose. I
That's right.
had to protect, I'm going to say it this way, I had to protect what I realized that God was awakening in me.
Uh-huh.
And in my mind, I knew that I had to always, and I haven't been good at it, guys, but we see what be happening to me. I had to protect this physical shell that he was going to use for his purpose and
Right.
for his people. So when
Right.
you say that, I'm hearing about them systems and that the worldly system belonged to the one that was kicked out of heaven.
Hmm.
And we have to be careful. So it's not just us learning to talk the corporate language. I mean,
Right.
now, guys, that oral language and the written language, we have to make sure. that corporate language doesn't become a layer on our physical skin. But what I really want to say, guys, don't become a layer on that DNA
Yes.
that was put in us for
Yes.
that purpose. Because really, and you correct me, Dr. Velma, I'm trying to think
Hmm.
two different ways here. That's really the end game.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. As
But
you were talking about protection, it brought my mind back to the armor
mhm.
and the
Oh,
helmet of salvation. We keep that helmet on as we go to work. The
yes.
breastplate of righteousness, we have to cover our feelings, our emotions, and not let that touch us because that's where the enemy wants to strike. The in corporate, they'll talk about you, what you're doing, and why it's not good. We talked about that the other day when my boss gave me the worst area in the whole division. He said, Velma, I know you can do it. I said, either you think highly of me or this is a setup. You know you're sending me to the worst area. She said, no, I think highly of you. Breastplate of righteousness. Don't let no words hurt your feeling. Keep that helmet on so your mind is protected and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. So your foot and everywhere you touch, when you walk into a room, you're not by yourself. God is with you. But there will come a time where you're going to have to let people know, wait, hold on. And that sword is going to have to come out and they have to be reminded I'm not just walking around with all this equipment on. I do have a way
Mhm.
to fight back
Fight
if I
back.
have to. And it's not my mouth. It's not me telling you off and reducing myself to your level. It's not me threatening you in any way, form, or fashion. But it's me letting you know that you can't do all of this and I'm not going to respond. And my response sometimes is not what the world will expect me to.
Mhm.
It's not me throwing a lick at you. It's not me
Mhm.
hitting you. It's not me touching you. None of that.
Mhm.
But I can pray you out of my office.
Yes.
I can ask God to remove you,
Come on.
not harm you, but remove you from this premise. And I've seen God do that, Dr. Taz.
Me
When
too.
situations come in and people come, I say, God, this person is going to disrupt what you called me here to do. Can you please make sure they get transferred somewhere else? I've done that and it did happen. So
Mhm.
our weapons are our weapons of warfare are not carnal. It's not about flesh and blood either. They're
Mhm.
spiritual weapons. And therefore, that's why I said we live and operate in a spiritual atmosphere. And until you get that, it's going to be very difficult for you to use the world's methods to make it through life and to accomplish what you've been placed here to do.
Now, guys, we can't give you everything. Y'all probably need to reach out to Dr. Velma with some help for that, because that's deep. But she's speaking truth though.
Hmm.
Now, Dr. Velma, I do want to move to restoration now. How does restoration affect relationships and our professional decisions?
Well, it goes back to that dog we talked about yesterday that's injured and broken.
Mhm.
If we're injured and broken, we can injure and break somebody else because we're not going to receive anything helpful. Anybody that's designed to come into your life to help and support you on your journey, you're not going to receive it because now you're broken. My grandmother had a saying. She said, God would not send you a broken glass to cut your lip. Now, she
Preach,
was talking about
Grandma.
relationships back then.
She sure was. God knows she was talking about relationship. I automatically knew that. Preach, black woman,
But
preach.
I tell women sometimes, but what if you're the broken glass?
Come on here.
Whatever is broken has to be repaired, has to be fixed, has to be rebuilt. And that's what restoration is. Okay, now I know I need to do these things. You've discovered what needs to happen. Now the restoration becomes let me fix what's broken. Let me rebuild what I need to rebuild. This is damage control. Let me get all of this in order. Let me reinstate all the things that I had been placed in me. Let me reinstate them to the former condition so that to my former status so that I can now be who I've been called to be. So there's work to do. And I think there was something you said in the notes about preparation before visibility. Do the work first. Get this stuff done that we were talking about. Do the restoration first. Get reset whatever caused you to get torn out and off the path that you've been called. Reset. And in this reset, fix. It's not preparation, is about restoration, really. Fix what's broken. Recognize habits that hinder the process. Some of
Dr.
them
Bell.
habits could be people, your habit of hanging
Yes.
around with the wrong people, your habit of listening to the wrong people, habits that hinder your progress. Fix all of that. Then reinstate yourself to the former condition that you had before all of this happened and start from there.
Dr. Bell, I'm just shaking my head at that. What is wrong with her? Because you see, Dr. Bell, first of all, I'm just Teresa. I'm just Teresa. And
Come
she
on,
just
Dr.
Mary.
Taz.
Now I'm just Teresa. Lots of time people don't want to go there because
Mm-mm.
you see, that's going to cause a lot of work. And you want me to admit that I don't have it together, that I need to go and do some restoration and I got to go back and get myself prepared. Well, maybe for some people, Dr. Velma, when they got to go back, they may have to go back when they were 10.
Then go back.
I'm 80 now, Dr. Velma.
Then
I
go
can't
back.
go back. I ain't going back. I ain't going back. Like my
Look,
niece told me years ago,
I
I
hit
won't
a
be back.
rough patch in my marriage.
Okay.
And what it caused us to do, both of us, is go back to our childhood. And he had to go back to his father and his stepfather, apologize, ask for forgiveness because I had to go back to my dad. My mom was already with Jesus, but I had to sit there as if she was sitting there with me, write to her and tell her the things I needed to say to her. And I'm telling you, it was like my mom was sitting right there. Whatever it takes, because some of the stuff we picked up along the way, we can't carry it into where God has taken us. It's weights and will get in the way. In some cases, it's sin. In our case, we created sin that fell upon us. The curse of divorce is what fell upon our lives because of what we did and what we said. So I'm telling you, yeah, this is not one of those feel good moments.
Mm-mm.
It's where the rubber meets the road. It's time to get it right. It's grow up time. It's time to put your big girl design. Not gonna say put your big girl skirt on. I'm not gonna use what we normally use, but
No.
it's time for you to grow up. Put the childhood clothes away and time for you to grow up. And that's what it means. You can't run from the problem because the problem is in you. And you telling me you're gonna keep the problem,
Yes.
keep it close. You're
Yes.
never going to move into what you have been called to move into. Get rid of that junk. That's what it is. It's junk. So
But that,
all of that affects your ability to be successful, affects your ability to find the right mate, affects your ability to move into your purpose. All of it does that. And so if those things are important to you, absolutely I'm going to do what I have to do.
but that means I've got to be able to access my humility because I got to understand that this process that you're saying that I got to go through, it's big. It's one, it ain't even about me. It's about my purpose. But you see, because you said I got that big head, I'm all that in a bag of chip and a coat. So you see, I can't, I've been doing it for 50 years. I've been doing it for 80 years. I cannot turn this off, but I'm still stuck on insanity because I think I'm going to get a different result. And you said yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, but on the episode, Les Brown, some of the most fruitful place, you didn't use
Hmm.
that link, that's what I'm going to say, is the cemetery.
It's
All
the
the
cemetery.
ideas. The richest place is a cemetery. Have you
Died
never?
with the person because many of them probably did what we're talking about now.
Yes.
Why should I have to go back? I don't want to go back. I don't want to have to revisit that time in my life. Some people say that
Mhm.
and won't.
And
And
they will
guess what?
not. Mhm.
You won't go into your purpose either.
No.
But
Uh,
if you want to honor the one who gave it to you in the first place,
mhm, mhm.
that's a part, like you said, Dr. Todd, that's a part of humility right there. You have to just humble yourself
Yeah.
and do what's necessary. Some of this stuff you have to let it go.
Let it go, guys.
Yeah.
Disney did a movie. They did, I think, two parts of it. Let it go.
Yes.
Come on, let it go.
Yes.
And I think about, you know, and I'm not getting ready to bash ministers, but I'm gonna say something about some ministers too. I think about some ministers that I have met over my lifetime,
Mhm.
and people, and I'm using them because they're supposed to be people of faith, and they're supposed to be sent by God. It's a balancing act. You got to control that demon. And I'm calling the demon guy because I'm talking about the flesh right now. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that we are demons, but there is a beast. Maybe it just lives within me. The
Mhm.
Incredible Hulk, that beast. Don't make me angry, Mr. McGee. You don't like me when I'm angry. And that's always been my saying since I was a little girl. Don't make me angry. You will not like me when I'm angry. Because once the beast comes to the surface, it takes a lot for me to pull that beast back down. So I,
Mhm.
I really try not to let him come. And I said him, not her. But because I think about some things that ministers have said to me, and if they were aware of the voice, and what I'm getting at now, guys, is y'all have got some church hurt. They let their human voice go. Your example, letting your human voice and your human wants and desires
Right.
impact what you're supposed to be doing as a pastor of a church. And
Right.
then you make these little statements and you really out of your place. But when I have to come and tell you out of your place, you think Sister Smith is out of her place. No, baby, you was out of your place. Because if you were operating with the real corporate, meaning God now, operating with his voice, you wouldn't say some of the things that you say. But you
Absolutely.
are letting your
Absolutely.
humanness bleed
That's
through,
right.
and,
Your
and, and you
flesh.
talk like your flesh, and then
Mhm.
you think that we're supposed to accept that. No,
No.
baby, you need to go work on that. And you need to
Yes.
be humble enough to understand that even as a man or woman of faith, sometimes my real person, and it don't mean that
Mhm.
you're not being real as the pastor. That's not what I'm saying. But there are three faces of Eve. There are many faces of us. And sometimes my real self that I have to try to keep dampened comes
Yeah.
over, and I speak out of that voice, not
Yes.
understanding it doesn't align with the spiritual voice, the true spiritual voice, God's corporate, not the regular church thing. And therefore, I am hurting people in the church. And then you wonder why you don't have nobody coming to your church, or
Right.
why people act up when they come and they don't really
Right.
speak to you. Because you don't hurt them, because you were operating out of your flesh instead of operating out of God.
Right. I'm trying to get this light out of my eye.
Mhm.
Sorry.
That's okay. And it's like,
You're
I
right,
just
Dr.
don't get
Taz.
that. But they just kind of popped on me, so I just wanted to share that, because I think that's sometimes maybe some of the impetus for the church hurt that people experience, because
Yeah.
you don't always have to be the pastor too, guys. Now I'm equal opportunity. It could be the head of the church board, the committee,
Anybody, any
the
member.
trustee, anybody, the person that parked them car, that's out in
Mhm.
the parking lot helping y'all park them car. It could be anybody.
Right.
They acted out of their flesh
That's
instead of
right.
acting out of their true connection to God. And you're
Right.
hurting people. And you
Right.
think I'm
When
just
we
gonna let it go. Okay.
No, and we were encouraged in part of my training, ministerial training, we were trained to not add your opinion to anything concerning God's word. Let God's work speak for himself, because God can back up his own word. He always backs up his promises. He keeps what he says he's going to do. He's going to do it. But a human being, we're called to just carry the word, share it. It's not our job to add our emotions or our personal interpretation about what it's saying, or just present what it says. That's it.
Stop, W. You said something really important there. Not all that was important, but you said that you were trained to, how did you put it? You talked about don't try to back up. You said something about because he can
Yep.
back up his own word.
Right. Don't try to add your own personal opinion, interpretation at all. You present the word, and not, you know, my idea of what the word is saying, my personal opinion about what the word is saying. Just let the word speak for itself.
I got a question for you. Is
Hmm.
it that we live in these different systems that have silenced us? When we get in a place of power, and it can be power anywhere,
Yeah.
then we want to institute, we want to add to it. We want to
Yeah.
add to whatever, like you were just saying. And as you said, with God, He can back His own stuff up.
He can
But we
back it
think
up.
we can back up stuff too, and we can't back it up.
And
And
you
then when
cannot.
people they're not challenging you, you think you being challenged. Oh, Jesus, I can't with you, black man.
Yeah.
When
That's
somebody
right.
has a different opinion,
That's right.
because you know
It's
that's
their
speaking in
opinion.
corporate language, then you
Hmm.
opinionated, you this,
Hmm.
you're not a team player,
That's right.
because you forgot when you go
Hmm.
to that organization,
Yeah.
that job, you have
Yeah.
to leave yourself at home.
Yeah. But you work for a boss, and the one whose word you're called to follow and lead with. You work for him. And yet you get into the position assuming that you work for yourself, and that's not true. And so you should always make sure that you're representing who you have been called to serve.
Mhm.
It's a servant leadership position. It's not you owning anything.
Nothing, nothing. And that's the reason I wanted to bring that out, because when most times when we go on the job, the real job now, guys, and it can be
Yes.
a relationship job too, we follow information.
Yes.
But then when we go to church, we want to act like we the Messiah.
Well, you remember at the job, there are manuals that govern everything we do.
Hmm.
At the church, it's the Bible that governs everything that we do.
Hmm.
And so that's our manual.
Hmm.
And people forget to use it, apply it, reference it, align with it.
Oh, Jesus, don't just beat us up, Dr. Bell. Don't beat us up now here. Oh, Lord, help us,
I'm
somebody.
just saying.
They do.
Well, I guess I'm just going to have these in my eyes.
You still beautiful, Dr. Velma. And we rebuke you. We rebuke you. We had no
That's
problem with
okay. I'll
lying.
hold my head up. How about that? We'll
Thank
keep it
you. Hold
going.
your head up. Hold your head up.
Hmm.
Dr. Velma, my last question is, what responsibility comes with living and speaking in alignment with truth? Now, you've already answered it, but what responsibility comes with that? Whether, and I'm not telling you, you don't have to be a minister now.
No, you don't. It's just anybody and everybody.
Anybody, everything.
Whatever you've been called to do, you better speak the truth in whatever you're doing. And our writing, we're not lying to anybody. Your books are not full of lies.
Mm-mm,
They're written beautifully and they're not full of lies.
mm-mm,
Speaking the truth is what's important, because our job is to make sure we're communicating with the audience God has given us to reach. And so it's important that we speak that truth. But there's accountability in our purpose too. If the giver of gifts has downloaded this way before we were formed in our mother's womb, and we begin to walk into that purpose, there's
mm-mm,
accountability there. And so we have a responsibility to make sure we honor what he's given us. It's an honor which should make you humble, that you would want to do it well and do it right,
mm-mm,
because there's accountability attached to it. Now, Les Brown talked about the richest place in the world being the graveyard.
mm-mm,
He Everybody didn't go there because they didn't fulfill their promise. It could be that God set them down because they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. So therefore, it's they
yeah.
didn't accomplish what he had hoped they would because they messed up.
Mm-hmm,
So we
mm-hmm.
have to be responsible for what we've been given, because we will be held accountable for how we operate in it and how we fulfill it. And it's important that we do it right.
Well, Dr. Velma, that was a final word right there. But I'm going to say, is there anything else that you want to leave the audience with?
My only words that I would leave is what we began this beautiful series with, and that is discover what God has called you to do. Begin to seek what He has called you to do, your purpose. Make sure you get out of the paralysis. Make sure you move out, deal with the laryngitis. Make sure you discover what exactly your voice is and how your voice should sound and what it should look like. Take your time in that preparation stage. Get rid of the gunk and the junk that you have to get rid of so that you can ride this thing out the way it should be. And with God's help, you'll move into your purpose with grace. And there won't be anything in this world that can stop you once you're there because there's an audience waiting for you. It's not a competition because who God called me to talk to is not necessarily who God called you to talk to. And what God has called me to say is not what God has called you to say. Do you? I think that was something Dr. Taz and I said in the very beginning. Just be you.
Mhm. Well, Dr. Velma, it has been an honor having this time with you. I want to say to our audience, thank you for spending this time with us. Reclaiming your voice is not a single moment. It is a process of remembering, choosing, and practicing truth in everyday life. As you move through the rest of your week, I invite you to reflect on this question. Where have you been speaking from habit? And where are you being invited to speak from truth? You don't have to rush to an answer. Restoration takes time. This conversation is part of a 4-episode limited series. Each episode stands on its own, but together they explore identity, authorship, and purpose beyond performance. And until next time, before you go trying to take care of someone else, please make sure you take care of yourself first. Bye now.